Hello, amazing family. This is Hadija with the Parenting Mindset Shift, the place for parents to bring clarity, confidence, peace, and joy to their parenting journey. And today, this video is about the misconception of the approach in parenting that the Parenting Mindset Shift is talking about. So, what are the different misconceptions that we are thinking we are doing when we are in a position where we are validating our children's emotion? What does that mean? So I want to address all of those things that we think it is, but it's actually not what it is. So let's get started. So first, listening to your child and validating their feeling means your child can simply do whatever they want. And you're not longer the parents, but they just controls you. Well, that's not true. That's not what it is. Listening to your child's wants or needs doesn't mean you say yes to everything. It simply means that you are paying attention and listening to what they need. So when you take the time to understand their perspective, it doesn't mean you accommodate that perspective. It only means you are listening so they can feel heard, which is one of the needs of any human being. And I want us to pay attention of how we also feel in any other relationship when somebody is listening to us instead of just telling us what to do. Or does that actually mean they let us control everything, right? What does that mean to just paying attention and validating and listening so they feel heard? One of the needs are met. Another misconception is that when we are trying to keep our children not to being mad or upset or angry at us. Nope, those are normal feelings that our children will have and should have. And now what we are doing is teaching giving the opportunity to teach them and to model how to self-regulate. So if we are allowing those feelings to be there, we're teaching them how to deal with them instead of shutting them down or suppressing them or not allowing them to be. So the idea in this, any kind of communication is not to just not being upset with them or them being upset with us. It's simply to learn how to communicate in a space where we are feeling frustrated, but we still want to communicate something. This is the moment where us as parents need to teach that. Are we modeling that? Are we doing it? So the approach here in mindset shift is really about modeling and teaching, but then giving them the opportunity to disagreeing with us, giving them the space to be okay, to be mad, and it's not we are not trying not to make sure that they are pleased all the time because their needs are met. The needs is not necessarily the wants of everything. It's just paying attention of what they're feeling and then teaching them how to regulate. So the self-regulation here. So of course today I'm not going to address all the different misconceptions, but I wanted to address just those few that we are just letting them do whatever and they can just choose whatever they want to do. So whatever approach to parenting you're going to use, it needs to come from a healthy version of you, a healed you, a egoless you. The parent has the ability to be there for their child's need and not their own ego or their own need. And that part is difficult because the part is to be trained, and it's not only the awareness, it's also the practice that lead us to be better understanding. So even if you are using whatever the approach that they talk about, the gentle parenting, the conscious parenting, the mindful parenting, if it's only about your ego and the different trauma that you had in your childhood, it's not going to be coming from a place of making sure that their needs is met. It's only going to come to a place that making sure that your needs are met. So this is where we need to be aware and pay attention to make sure that we are parenting in a space where it is good for the whole household and not just meeting our own need, like listening to us without communication, like you just need as I say, just because I'm your parent and you just say as I say kind of a vocabulary. And so the most important aspect in any kind of approach that you want to address, it needs to make sure that you are coming from somebody that understands themselves, us. We understand what are our triggers, why are we getting triggered by different things, where is that coming from, are we healing in that aspect, are we addressing those things, instead of coming to a place where you think that you are just overprotecting your child because you didn't have anything, you didn't have that, you were missing that need, so then you trying to transfer that today, and that's not a healthy way to also function. So the exercise that I personally did for me was to make sure that I'm not trying to give the things, like the whole mentality of giving what we didn't have, but then it's really about what we needed. What I needed was different from what my kids and my children need today. And the society that they live in is completely different from the society I lived in. So the needs are going to be different in some aspect. But the basic one is really to be feeling heard, understood, seen, and understanding that they have this sense of belonging. So the aspect of being able to be themselves, the authenticity of the child, and being able to have a secure attachment with their environment, so they don't look for any validation from outside, and making sure that we do the validation at home is giving them the strength, the mental strength, to be and go about the world and not necessarily needing anything from the outside, but because inside it's done, the work at home is taken care of, and it doesn't do anything about weakening who they are, because when you give the love and the needs, this is mental strength. This is where they are strong enough to go and do the things and help others, instead of being in a position where they are in an environment where there is a full of shame and guilt and making you feel bad, and try to strengthening by like beating you up a little bit more so then you can be stronger. That whole thing is completely wrong. It's destroying the inside of the child, and it doesn't do any good. So what we want is to focus on making sure that the need is met, so they don't go being an adult try to fill up that need with different things that are outside of us. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, because there's some misconception of thinking that it's about saying yes to everything. It's about just validation doesn't mean saying yes to anything. And if we can just transfer that to the relationship we have with our own friends, when you go to a place and you feel bad and you want to discuss something, and when your friend is simply saying, I understand, I feel you, I'm here for you. Those things are priceless. So I don't understand why we are not doing the same thing with our kids and try to immediately lecturing our kids about, yeah, but you should have known not to do that, right? Like you should have known not to, like if you're talking with anything about your friends in any situation, giving you the lecture of anything, it's not good for you. It's not going to be what you need in that moment. And yes, sometimes we do those, but those different lecture, and that's something that I always talk about, is how you build your relationship with your child. So then the lecture becomes more receivable. And the same thing, like when you say no, when you have built a relationship, a trust with your child, the no is taken without question, because now they know where it's coming from. I know I have this relationship with my mom. I understand what she's saying, because we're communicating about the different values, the belief, and the things like that. So it's coming from that place. Yes, sometimes you also have to repeat because they're a child. And repeating is part of our work, right? So this is the thing that we need to be doing. So for us, the Strength Connection tool this week is really to focus on us and making sure that we are parenting in a place where we understand why we do the things we do. We understand that it's not coming from an ego, that it's not coming from a lack of need that we didn't have, that it's not coming from a trauma that we are still getting there, being triggered by different aspects. All of that work is going to allow us to have a peaceful, parenting, to have a joyful parenting, to enjoy the moment and to be connected with our children, connected with others. Because when we have things that we need to work on, it's actually disconnecting us from others, from ourselves, and that's where the difficulty happen, when we are in a situation where we don't know why we have the different relationship with our children today. So I don't hope this video helped you to understand the different misconceptions that I'm talking about. And again, like I said, there's so many misconceptions out there in a different approach, and I would love for you to comment below. Please comment below and let me know what are the things that you are disagreeing, like what's the approach, what are the topic that I've talked about that you feel like, no, I don't feel it's working for my child, or I don't feel it's working for my family. Like, what are the things, and try to be as specific as you can so I can address that with you, and I can address that maybe in another video. So if you like those videos, by the way, please the subscribe button now, so then you can, and the notification button, so you can receive more of those videos later. But I'm posting every week, and the goal is to always spread the Parenting Mindset Shift YouTube channel to everywhere, so we can address the different things. Because today we really need to raise our children to be compassionate, to be leaders that are spreading kindness and care, and the only way to do that is start at home. So my mission is always to make sure that we understand what is our role in the life of our children, and in impacting the society that we're living in. So please hit the subscribe button again, and share this video, and hit also the notification. Comment below what you're thinking. What are the different things that you agree, disagree, and why did you maybe stop the video at that time? I don't know. If you continue until the end of this video, that's also awesome. And I really love that you're always here listening to my videos, and I hope to see you next time. So thank you very much, and au revoir.